Broadcasting from the Cannon Motor Studio on Central Avenue in downtown Laurel, Mississippi. This is Good Morning Pine Belt with host Ben Winpigler on SuperTalk Laurel 99.3.
All right, here we go. Good morning, Pine Belt. Thank you for tuning in this morning, wherever you may be listening. This is Good Morning Pine Belt, and we're live here from the Cannon Motor Studio in beautiful, historic downtown Laurel, Mississippi, as the Beatles bump us into this first segment here of the show. Before we bring in our first guest of the day, I do want to mention that this segment of Good Morning Pine Belt is brought to you by Dixie Electric Power Association, a member-owned electric co-op offering broadband internet. Go check out DE Fastlink today. They will get you taken care of. If you're a Dixie member, go check them out. Or now, in some places, even if you don't have Dixie Electric, you have access to DE Fastlink. So go check them out today. I can assure you it will be better than anything that you currently have, especially if you have Comcast, because it's terrible. All right, joining us now, I've had them on a couple of times before, but from First-Trinity Presbyterian Church, that is a mouthful. Joining us now is, Pastor Perry Bridges, and now joining us usually from the Jones County EDA is Collyn Leggett. I finally got it right. It took me a couple of times, but I finally got it Leggett, not Bassett. But thank y'all for joining us this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
It's good to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, Collyn, I'm going to start with you because you kind of sent me the info when we started about this. I know I've had Pastor Bridges on before to talk about the 100-year anniversary of the church there and the sanctuary, but you reached out to me a couple of weeks ago about an event that y'all are having coming up this Saturday, and it's really cool. It's something different. So why don't you go ahead and tell the people what y'all are doing this Saturday?
Yeah, so on Saturday at 6 o'clock at our church, we are going to be hosting a organ concert, but it's a silent film. So Walt Strony, he's one of America's premier organists. He is known for a lot of different things, but something that's very unique is that he will play the special effects and the music to a silent film. And this silent film that we're going to be playing is called Speedy, featuring Harold Lloyd. So this film, it's going to be really cool. It's just kind of a very unique opportunity to be able to kind of be in the church, kind of get lost in the film and the production, but also be able to hear kind of the music and using our historic organ to kind of guide that experience. But it's going to be very cool. My husband, John, he grew up in the church and said that they used to do it several times as he was growing up, and that it's just such a unique experience to be a part of. And so I'm excited to see it for the first time.
Yeah.
And he said as a kid it was magical, but I can only imagine as an adult to be able to appreciate kind of the artistry behind it. That it's going to be really cool.
So is he going to be in the church playing the organ?
Yes. Yeah, so he will be. Yeah,
That's
he
awesome.
will be playing the organ in our church, and then we'll have a screen set up with the projector for the movie, and so it's going to be a really, really spectacular event.
That's awesome. Well, Pastor Bridges, appreciate you coming in, but this is something really cool. We were talking off air. The art of the silent film has obviously been lost in the last several generations, but this is really cool that y'all are bringing it back, and then to have the live organ music right behind it. That's awesome.
Yeah, just to be able to view that and see it. I've never been to one before,
okay,
so this will be a new experience for me. But we put up the screen, or we had some people put up the screen a few days ago, so it's big. And it will be neat just to see, Walt Strony, playing the organ to emphasize different parts of this silent film, this brief film. But it's going to be neat to see that in the church. But it puts us back, if you're into that kind of thing or want to see it for the first time, it'll be a good opportunity to kind of step back in time. And since the church, we're celebrating the centennial, 100 years, puts us back to 1925, roughly that dated period. And
when silent films are all the rage.
This was the thing, And just a little thing about that, I don't know a whole lot, but you can certainly look it up online and, Wikipedia, things like that. But this film was nominated for an Academy Award for silent film comedy back in that era. But it was phasing out because the the audio and the other kinds of filmmaking were kind of taken over at that time. But it was kind of the last great one, and it's got Babe Ruth in it and some different things. So it's going to be neat to kind of watch this and kind of step back in time.
Absolutely. So obviously you mentioned there that this is all kind of in conjunction with the celebration of the centennial of the church. So talk a minute about, because we've had you on before, but somebody maybe who's not familiar with the history of the church, talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, it's, we're celebrating the church began in 1895. So they had a first structure that was built that was wooden, and it burned down.
Okay.
So they built immediately another wooden structure, and it lasted a few years, probably a little over 20, 25 years. And then they raised some money to build this structure, that the sanctuary that we have now. So it's 100 years old. But it's been a place of worship for 100 years in this community. It was a cornerstone originally of Laurel growing and so on. So we just feel very fortunate to still have a place of worship where we can do that. But we want to celebrate the fact that God has been done some amazing things in our church and our community, the Laurel community and beyond, for many years now. And we're just glad to be able to have that opportunity to celebrate that.
So talk about this organ for a minute, because this thing is incredible. If you've never seen it or heard it, it's incredible. And I can't remember, I know we talked about it before, but how old is the actual organ?
It's got to be at least as old as the congregation, because it was put in at the time.
Okay.
So it's at least 100 years old.
Wow.
But the components of it come from different parts of the country, but everything was top notch. When they built that sanctuary, the stained glass windows, and by the way, just a little plug for George Bassey over at the museum, Laurel Museum. He's such a great historian, but he knows a lot about everything about our church. So we kind of lean on him quite a bit for some of the history. But it is an amazing instrument. It's the second largest pipe organ in the state of Mississippi.
Oh, wow.
So the largest is in Jackson, Mississippi, I think at First Baptist. But ours is second when you count the number of pipes and so on. But to hear everything, when you have a really good organist, and we've always had good organists from even come to play and do concerts and organ concerts, things like that. But it's really amazing. I mean, it fills the space of that amazing sanctuary enough to where it's like you just get captivated and you get pulled into it. And to hear an organ played, and a lot of times people who may not even be fans of organs, they come out of there saying, wow, that's quite an experience. And so this is going to be part of seeing this silent film because he's going to put emphasis on it. It's just going to be neat. I want to see both of these things put together, the visual as well as the hearing, the sound of an organ. That's amazing.
The architecture of the sanctuary really is designed to enhance the organ's sound. And so I usually sit in the choir loft in the sanctuary, and so it's so funny, kind of the sound is so different where I sit than compared to what, my family that sits out in the pews, like they hear different noise. And so whenever we have different concerts and stuff in where I have the opportunity to be able to sit out in the congregation, it's such a unique, or it's just a spectacular experience to be able to kind of be a part of that and hear that organ. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So back to the actual event coming up this Saturday. This is a free event. But seating is limited. So, Collyn, what time is the doors open? When do people need to start getting there?
So it's going to start at 6 o'clock, and so I believe doors will open probably as early as,
I would think 5.
Yeah,
I
5.
mean, if people want to come early and just kind of get settled in, the doors are going to be open. So,
right.
Yeah,
and
there'll be people there.
Yeah, so we'll be there, and then, anybody that wants more information, especially about our centennial service that will be happening the following day on Sunday at our normal service time at 10:30. We're going to have some information up at the front of the church and the narthex, and then we'll be able to be there to answer any questions that anybody may have. But it's going to be a really fun event. I think that the silent film is a great way to kind of welcome some of the guests that we have coming in on Sunday, and it'll be a great event for the community. So all are welcome. Anybody around town, any tourists, any locals, we're happy to host anybody.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, Pastor Bridges, talk a little bit about the centennial service that y'all are doing that Sunday after.
Yeah, we have, for a year now, we've been, anticipating this time of worship. So, to celebrate the centennial, 100 years of the sanctuary. The sanctuary actually had its dedication on November the 6th, I believe, was of 1925.
Yeah.
So we have invited several former ordained ministers back that have served in this church.
Cool.
And so we've got several of them. I won't go down through the list of them, but on Sunday morning, having them participate in celebrating, obviously Christ, but what God has done in this church, through the years, and to have them participating in worship is going to be a really neat thing. Collyn sings in the choir, obviously. She had mentioned that, so our choir does a wonderful job. But that service will be a celebration of what God's done, but we're worshiping God. But at the conclusion of the service, we're going to have a bagpipe person who's part of the church. Jim Good, who grew up in the church, and spent some time there, but he lives, I think, in the Jackson area now. But he plays bagpipes, so he's going to lead us out at the conclusion of the service. And Nathan Jones will be the organist for that particular service. He served in our church for 11 years as organist and choir director. But between the two of them and playing, we're going to be led out of the congregation, out to the front steps of the church, out to the street, and we'll have period time cars out there. We're going to have a group picture. So we're inviting anybody and everybody, the community, anybody who wants to be part of the worship service. Yeah. And then at the conclusion to take a group picture is just, we only get once every 100 years, right? To do this, so this is a one-time thing. But I think it'll be a time for historical purposes to record what is has been done in this service. But we're that worship service is going to be really special, and that'll be, of course, on Sunday morning. It starts at 10:30 in the sanctuary of our church.
There you go. Well, thank y'all for joining us. That's this Saturday at the First-Trinity Presbyterian Church, just right here off of downtown. Go check them out. Silent Film Festival. Good Morning Pine Belt. We'll be right back.
You're tuned in to Good Morning Pine Belt on SuperTalk Laurel 99.3.
All right, here we go. An appropriate song by the Foo Fighters here. With the monkey situation going on in the Pine Belt. My goodness, the monkeys. Our thanks to Collyn, Leggett, and Pastor Perry Bridges there from First-Trinity for coming in. Go check out that Silent Film Festival this Saturday. It'll be pretty cool. Before we bring in our next guest, I do want to mention that this segment of Good Morning Pine Belt is brought to you by McLaurin Carpets out in Soso. From carpet to custom tile showers and any type of flooring in between, go check out McLaurin Carpets today. And hey, I want to remind you that if you want new flooring or a new shower or something, you're really cutting it close for Thanksgiving. They're going to be coming in hot if you want it for Thanksgiving. But if you want it before Christmas, go ahead and call them now, because the work that they do takes a little time because it's top notch. So call them now or go to McLaurinCarpets.com. Get that free quote today, and they'll get you taken care of. All right, joining us now, I think I do this on purpose every time, from Soso, Mississippi, the star of Soso, Mississippi, the former West Jones great. I think he played receiver there at West Jones. Hunter Jefcoat from Cooley Labas Financial. And Hunter, what I'm most excited for is if there is going to be an open monkey season soon.
I'm curious myself. I hadn't known what to believe, so I came to you for the information. I know where to get it. So.
Yeah, well...
The only thing that could make this show better today would be doing it outside. What a stinking day. I wish we would have talked about that.
You know what would be fun is if we did it live from Jasper County in Heidelberg to see if we can find monkeys. That's what we should do.
I love it.
All right. Well, Hunter, appreciate you coming in as you do every month. And this time of year, Hunter, there's obviously lots of things going on, but it's the time of year where you're getting close to the new year, getting close to the holidays, and spending lots of money and different things. And I figured it'd be a good time to bring you in to talk about some things that y'all have done in the past that are working for people or working recently, and how people can, as we get into the new year, maybe get on a better platform.
Yeah, certainly endless directions we could go every time we meet, for sure. And, as I thought about this morning, I just thought to myself, hey, it's probably to make it easy on myself, but let's just talk about a couple things we've done for folks, in the last 2 weeks essentially, and that are fresh on my mind and would be easy to talk about. So this morning, I want you to be a couple different people.
Okay,
So we're just going to kind of role play this thing out. So this morning, to kick things off, you are a guy who faithfully gives to your church.
Okay.
Thank you for being that.
Yes.
What do we want to call you? Garth.
Garth
faithfully gives to his church. But Garth has all of a sudden had a better income year than he anticipated.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So because of that, you realize, hey, I have this desire to give a certain amount to my church, and I'm behind.
Right.
So that came up in a conversation with you and I, Garth, and in that conversation, we decided, hey, instead of you just getting cash, paying some tax, and then giving a check,
okay,
you've got some stocks in an investment account that have done pretty darn well, Garth.
Okay.
Instead of us selling those, why don't you give those to the church as appreciated stock? You get the full. So essentially what we did recently was give a gift of $15,000 to the church.
Okay.
In addition to what he was already given, but to kind of catch up, whatever you want to say. So he gave $15,000 to the church through appreciated stock. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
And why that?
Okay. So essentially, he had bought a stock for roughly, at least the portion that we gave, his cost basis. What that means is what he paid for it.
Yeah.
He paid $3,000 for the stock.
Okay.
He gave the gift, I said, that was $15,000. So pretty easy math. You can say there's $12,000 of gains in there. Well, if he sold that, he's going to pay 15% on that $12,000 of gains.
Yeah.
Well, now all of a sudden he can give it to the church. They can sell it. They get the full $15,000. They don't owe that tax. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And ultimately, he gets full credit for the gift.
Yeah.
And gets around paying the tax in a totally legal way.
Yeah.
And essentially, he takes $15,000 out of his bank account and puts it back in his investment account and can keep money invested.
Okay.
But gets out of some of that tax. So all the things he wanted to accomplish were accomplished. So why does that matter? Essentially, he's going to save about $2,000 in taxes on long-term capital gains.
The church gets more.
And the church gets the full benefit. So all the things were accomplished. So that was one way that we easily, some year-end catch-up type planning that benefited him, accomplished what he wanted, and the church benefited.
And
greatly.
why, for people who don't know, why, when the church sells it, why do they not have to pay that tax?
So essentially a non-profit, charity type of business. It doesn't have to just be churches. It could be,
which most churches are.
Most churches are, but it could be Glory House, Choices,
United
Clinic,
Way,
all those
whatever.
things.
Yeah,
whatever. They can all do that same thing.
Okay.
So essentially that was a cool way to again accomplish what he wanted to accomplish.
Yeah.
And it was a win-win all around. So, another one that came to mind, let's call you Lester this time.
I like Lester.
All right, Lester. Lester, you were a great worker for a Fortune 500 company for 20 plus years. Okay. You went to work every day. You worked hard. You did what you were supposed to.
Yeah.
And somebody told you to put some money in a 401k.
You
You did that, really didn't totally understand what all you were doing. And when you retired, you just left it there.
Yeah.
Okay. And your plan was.
Forgot it was there. Yeah.
Pretty well. And planned for that to ultimately be inheritance to your kids.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're rocking along. You look at it occasionally, maybe quarterly when you get a statement or something, but not really paid attention.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all of a sudden you get to 73 years old.
Yeah.
Okay. When you get that age, Lester, you've got to pay what's called required minimum distributions.
Oh, okay.
I say pay. You've got to withdraw a certain amount from your pre-tax 401k or IRA.
Okay.
Okay. So that 401k company said, hey, we don't ever talk to Lester.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to figure out how to contact him, we're not going to get in trouble with the IRS.
No.
So what they did is they just cashed it out for him.
Oh.
So all of a sudden Lester's sitting there with a nice 6-figure balance in his 401k, and one day he checks the mail and he gets a check.
Oh, my.
And it's from the 401k company, but it's 20% less than what he thought he had.
Okay. Where's the 20%?
So what the 401k company does, and which is standard, is they just withhold 20% to send to the IRS to hopefully cover most of your tax bill.
Yeah.
And then he gets the rest. Well, again, he's knows how to take care of the day-to-day stuff, but doesn't
Yeah.
know all the details of finance.
Yeah, and that's a big check.
And that's a big fat check that he's never seen anything like. So essentially, somebody he knows said, hey, you should go talk to somebody.
Yeah.
And that somebody just happened to be me. And essentially what we did in that case was you can do what's called an indirect rollover.
Okay.
That means he got that check on, let's just say, October 1st. Within 60 days, so before December 1st,
Okay.
he can put that money back into an IRA.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Well, in the eyes of the IRS, they already got 20% of your check.
Yeah. So they're done.
They're done. They're fine. But by putting it back in an IRA, now all of a sudden you can show through your tax return next year that you put it back in an IRA. The taxes are still deferred, and he's going to get a big refund check.
Oh,
back.
nice.
So essentially, why does that matter?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now all of a sudden he can control the pace at which he withdraws money and pay a lot less than 20% of that balance at one time.
Yeah.
Right. So it was a big deal for him on multiple levels. Instead of the government getting a massive check from him, hey, he gets to kind of control that. He's going to get that money back.
Right.
And ultimately he can enjoy the money, but his goal is for his kids to inherit that one day. So anyway, that was a fun one to feel. Again, nothing super complicated, but really helped him that, hey, that big chunk of money that went to the government, he's going to get it back.
Yeah, well, stuff like that happens a lot more than people think, I feel like.
Well, and it does, and most of the time people, just like he did, he went and took it to the bank and put it in the savings account because, hey, I don't want this check.
No,
and,
I don't want to hold on to this.
And he just considered that money gone that went to the government. So anyway, he's going to be really happy around February, March of next year when he gets a big refund and gets a lot of money in his pocket. But, other things I thought about, hey, one was a guy who's 71 who has Medicare at this stage.
Yeah.
Okay. We started working with him about 2 years ago, so he's past Medicare age.
We got about 40 seconds, by the way.
Okay, I'll wrap this up. He was sold a very expensive Medicare supplement to start with, and it's only gone up. So he's a healthy guy. We're going to be able to, and what we've done is shown him a couple of different Medicare supplements. He's going to be able to save about $120 a month.
Wow.
Which in retirement, hey, who doesn't?
Exactly.
Even not in retirement, $120 is nice every month.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Hunter, that's just a few examples of some of the things that y'all do for people over at Cooley and Labas. If somebody's listening and they're like, hey, I'm just like Garth or Lester, which, by the way, I love those names. I'm in that same situation. How do they get in touch with y'all to say, hey, I want to take advantage of what you just said?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, you can Google us, one, look up our website, CooleyLabas.com, and find several ways to get in touch with us. Number two, just call us, 601-440-1050, and set up a time to come talk to us about your situation. We'd love to try and help.
There you go. He's Hunter Jefcoat with Cooley and Labas Financial. And when we get off the air, we're going to set up a time to go do a remote in Heidelberg to find the monkey. So that's coming up. But, hey, when we come back, we'll be talking with Caleb Hamill, talking about some Johns County football and some playoff scenarios. So stick around. Good morning, Pine Belt from the Cannon Motor Studio. We'll be right back.
We're back to Good Morning Pine Belt. SuperTalk Laurel 99.3.
All right, here we go. Good morning, Pine Belt. We are back live here from the Cannon Motor Studio in beautiful, historic downtown Laurel, Mississippi. Our thanks to Hunter Jefcoat there from Cooley and Labas Financial, right there in Collins and in Corinth, Mississippi. If you found yourself a little bit closer to the north, go check them out. I've known Hunter a while. He's a great guy that will take care of you in situations like you mentioned, but in all kinds of situations. He will get you taken care of no matter where you stand financially. It doesn't matter. He'll take care of you. He's a great guy. Before we bring in our next guest, I do want to mention that this segment of Good Morning Pine Belt is brought to you by Community Bank. Local bankers, local decisions, plenty of convenient locations. Go check out Community Bank today. And also don't forget, we are partnering with Home Hardware Center right here in Laurel to give away 2-burner Blackstone griddle. Excited to work with them. Go to homehardwarecenter.com/radio. Enter to win a brand new Blackstone 2-burner griddle. And you definitely are going to want want to get that because they're a little costly. So if you could win for free, but they're worth it when you buy one. And I know Home Hardware Center's got great prices. So, all right, joining us now as he does every Wednesday, the play-by-play announcer for the Jones County Game of the Week, Caleb Hamill. And Caleb, I think that we have determined that in the next week or so, if they have not found all the monkeys, that we are just going to do these broadcasts live from somewhere in Heidelberg to try to find the monkeys.
Sounds like a plan. We've got a good vantage point up there, wherever, and just going to try to look around at the horizon and see if we see one off in the distance.
Yeah, I mean, sounds like a good time to me.
By the way, does that Blackstone come with hibachi cooking lessons?
Oh, you know what? I'll throw that in for free. I'll give you the hibachi cooking lessons. There you go.
That's right. Just bring the Blackstone over to Ben's house, and he'll teach you how to do the dings and doinks on the spatulas and everything else.
Yes, the onion volcano, the whole 9 yards. I can do it.
Japanese egg roll.
Yes. I can do it all. Throw the hat and throw the shrimp in your pocket, the whole 9 yards.
Sold separately.
All right, Caleb, let's jump into high school football because I'm telling you right now, we talked a little bit about it last week and talked some with Uncle Marcus yesterday, but this playoff picture, it's really starting to get interesting.
It's my favorite time of year, not just because of all of the things that are at stake, but it's also the one time of year that I can really put my engineering and math skills to the test to try to determine tiebreakers and all ahead of playoff pictures.
Love a good tiebreaker.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Absolutely. So let's jump in first, excuse me, to sorry, one day I'll quit coughing. We'll start with our Jones County Game of the Week that we had last week. West Jones went down to Hattiesburg in a very tough atmosphere to play against a very tough team and had a tough loss. But that does not really, for their playoff picture, it does not affect them much.
Not that much as long as Hattiesburg beats Terry next week, or if Terry were to somehow upset Hattiesburg if they only win by 6 or less.
Okay.
Again, that's where all the math comes in. As long as one of those two things happens and West takes care of Jim Hill, then it will be a West Jones playoff game hosting.
Gotcha. All right, so let's talk about the game itself real quick. Final score was 41-20. What happened there to West Jones? I mean, I know Hattiesburg is obviously a explosive offense, but was Hattiesburg just that good, or what?
Yeah, Hattiesburg happened. That's what happened. No, it was just one of those things where when Coach Reynolds enters a game, one of the biggest things he'll tell you about the keys to victory, he'll mention 6 things. He'll say, throw, catch, block, tackle, kick, and cover, and play with great effort for 6 to 8 seconds. The problem for West Jones in that game early on was after they got that opening drive score, they did not kick and cover well. In fact, gave up an 83, 87-yard kickoff return touchdown to Hattiesburg's Anthony Ponce, and suddenly Hattiesburg leads 7-6 in the game without their offense seeing the field.
Yep.
And then, when you know it, West has to punt back to Hattiesburg on their next drive, and they go in one play and score on a little pitch between the line and the quarterback and a sweep out to the right side for Davion Young, who takes it 64 yards to the house. It's just 2 plays where Hattiesburg hit the sideline and found that crease. And I will say this, Hattiesburg has some really good skilled players.
Yeah.
And they have really come alive here late. As Tristan Keys didn't play a lot in the early part of the season, he has come alive here late as they approach playoffs. And they have really, Hattiesburg has found their footing with Gavin Ducksworth as a quarterback. Had a little bit of a quarterback battle early on with Ducksworth and Braylon Albritton, and it looks like Ducksworth has won the job. And once you get that position solidified, all of a sudden you can really start clicking with the different formations, the different plays you run.
Right.
And that's what they have done. And so, just bad timing of turnovers as well. I think West had 3 in the game. Had a chance right before halftime to go up and get a score. Would have still been trailing at the half, but then you turned it right back over to Hattiesburg, and they marched down the field in about 30 seconds and put a touchdown on the board right before halftime. And they led it 27-6 at the break and got the football to start the second half and went and scored. So it was just problem after problem that ended up being something that resulted in Hattiesburg points, just too hard to overcome.
Right. Well, as you said, it would take some maneuvering, but it looks like West has just about solidified that that second seed, barring anything crazy happening. Caleb, I want to jump into, in my opinion, what is the most interesting playoff scenario for at least the Jones County team is that's Region 4 and 5A. That's the region that Northeast Jones is there with, and Caleb, they've got a tough game. You know, Wayne County started off rough, but has played really well as of late. I mean, what does Northeast got to do to solidify that spot? If they lose, what can happen?
So this is kind of the weird thing that's happened over the last week, in that this game is not as important as what happened last week with a team not involving Northeast Jones, and that's that East Central beat Van Cleve.
Oh, okay.
And the reason that's big is because it sets up the possibility for a three-way tie at the bottom for that last playoff spot in the region.
Right.
Now, what that means is Northeast Jones is still not in the driver's seat because they lost to Purvis earlier in the year. And what they need to happen, ignore what the leader call said, this is what's true.
Okay.
Northeast Jones cannot make the playoffs if Van Cleve beats Purvis.
Okay.
They cannot do it. Mathematically, there are no tiebreaker scenarios to where Northeast makes it at that point. So you need to be cheering your heart out for Purvis to beat Van Cleve this week.
Yeah.
Now, after that, if you beat Wayne County, you are definitely in.
Yep.
If you lose, then you have to ensure that not only does Purvis beat Van Cleve, but Stone beats East Central. That one is probably more of a guarantee than the other one.
Yeah.
So that said, I don't mean to minimize what is important in this game against Wayne County, but you're much more looking at the other games going on in the region more than your own.
Right.
Because, again, I think East Central is very unlikely to beat Stone.
Yeah.
And I think Purvis and Van Cleve are kind of neck and neck, Purvis with a slight edge there maybe. But, again, that's the matchup that matters more. But if you get that win over Wayne County, it's a confidence boost for sure.
Yeah,
That's an upset of sorts, with Wayne County as the 2 seed locked in for Region 4. And it also helps you as you move forward. And the only playoff spot you can get if you're Northeast is the number 4 seed, and so that means you're going to be traveling to Brookhaven if you make it.
Yeah. That'll be a tough one. I know they have lost 3 of their last 4. They've struggled here towards the end, but like you said, hopefully that confidence boost will be big, even though if they get that 4 seed, having that confidence boost to win. But obviously, rooting for Purvis to win there as well as Stone, which is likely in both scenarios. But that's why we play the game. And all right, Caleb. Well, let's jump over to the same class, but next region down, Region 3 of 5A, and this is actually our game of the week. And man, Caleb, what a turnaround story for Laurel.
Yeah, start off the year 0-6, and now you've won your last 3 games. Your schedule kind of played out that way to help Laurel's cause, but now it's all down to this battle for a home playoff game between South Jones and Laurel. South has kind of picked themselves back up by the bootstraps, and they're right back in the middle of things, especially with Anquan Jackson available again. Played somewhat of a close game, I would say, against Natchez for a little bit, not terribly close, though. Laurel, likewise, with a narrow margin of victory there against Sumrall. And so you have these 2 teams that are going to be battling between the bricks with a lot on the line. Basically, if you win, or actually, truly, if you win, then you get the number 2 seed in the bracket and could likely host a Purvis or Van Cleve. If you fall in this one, for South Jones, they're either the 3 or the 4, depending on what North Pike does at Sumrall. And then you're looking at traveling for the playoffs.
Yeah.
So a lot on the line in this one as it relates to the postseason, but both teams pretty well secure in their spot to actually be in the playoffs, which is exciting.
Yeah, absolutely is. So what are you looking for in both these teams? Because like you said, Laurel has obviously picked it up as of late, but South has Anquan Jackson back, and they're playing they slacked off there for a little bit and playing well now. So what are you looking for in both these teams? Because from what I can see, they're which is surprising, pretty evenly matched now.
Well, Laurel's goal right now is to defend the run as well as they did against Brookhaven.
Yep.
They really neutralized Jaden Allen and Caden Quarles from that Brookhaven team several weeks back between the bricks. If they're able to do that in defending an Anquan Jackson from the backfield and whoever else South Jones decides to trot back there at running back, they're going to have a good shot. They can force South Jones to be one-dimensional. And this is a Laurel team that has gotten a few turnovers over the years.
Yeah.
Jamel Abney has done a great job as a man in the box, defending well, and he's back healthy after getting carted off against Brookhaven. So that could be Laurel's big defense. And then for South Jones, it's just outscore.
Right.
They're a team that loves to win these track meet type games. You think about the 38-35 win over West earlier in the season. They would love to do that at Laurel this week. And if South Jones is able to defeat the Golden Tornadoes, it'd be the first time since 2010.
Wow. I didn't realize it had been that long.
And they haven't played each other since 2022 either.
Okay,
so you've got a little bit of a gap when they haven't been region opponents.
Yeah.
But now it's back to an every year thing, and again, for South, it would be the first time in a long time.
Absolutely. Well, Caleb, we've ran out of time, but for that game of the week that's coming up this Friday, that's South Jones and Laurel there between the bricks.
Thursday.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Good program. Tomorrow. Programming note. That's tomorrow. I'm glad you said that. So that's tomorrow night, so you won't hear anything. So remind the people how they can listen tomorrow night, not Friday.
Yeah, 6:30 airtime with the pregame show, and then 7 o'clock kickoff. We'll be right there between the bricks and on your radio, SuperTalk Laurel 99.3, streaming online, supertalklaurel.com, and you can always ask your Alexa device to play SuperTalk Laurel 99.3. I did it last week, listed it on for my wife when she got home.
There you go. All right, Caleb, well, we'll talk to you next week, and we'll have all these playoff scenarios figured out. So thanks for joining us.
That's right, Ben. Thanks so much.
Yes, sir. All right, when we come back, we'll talk with Shelly Jones to finish off the show. Stick around. Good Morning Pine Belt. We'll be right back.
This is Good Morning Pine Belt on SuperTalk Laurel 99.3.
All right, Good Morning Pine Belt. We are back. Wrapping up the show here on a beautiful Wednesday morning in downtown Laurel in the Cannon Motor Studio. Our thanks to Caleb Hamill, as he does every week, joining us to talk high school football. Exciting week. Don't forget that broadcast is tomorrow night. I'm glad Caleb mentioned that. I almost forgot. Tomorrow night, not Friday night. Before we bring in our final guest of the day, I do want to mention that this segment of Good Morning Pine Belt is brought to you by Bank First. Don't forget that now a new family merged with Magnolia State Bank. All of that should be, if you're a customer of Magnolia State Bank, you should be getting all that in the mail. We just got some of our stuff and kind of starting that official final transition, but don't worry, it's still all the same people that you know, love, and trust. Just a new name and a little bit more technology. All right, joining us now in our final segment from the Jones County EDA and the Chamber of Commerce is Miss Shelly Allen. And Shelly, thanks for taking time out of your day this morning. I know y'all are busy even today.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Well, let's jump right in because this is one of our shorter segments. So let's jump right in because y'all have an event that is coming up here in next week. And I want to jump right in and kind of tell the people what y'all are doing in, let's see, the 13th, which is just about 5-6 days away. So.
Yeah, so next Thursday, the 13th, we're having our third bourbon tasting fundraiser. This is our third year doing it, and what it is an event sponsored by Oklahoma Casino that we host to raise money to support our Leadership Jones County class. So all the money we raise at this goes to let us make sure that every month we're able to have our sessions and carry the class through orientation to graduation.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a really great event. We've got a lot of different vendors coming and bringing new things. It'll be the biggest year as far as offerings so far, so we're really excited.
Absolutely, and I know this is a cool event because y'all have, like you said, you have the tastings of the bourbon and everything that people can go in and check out and everything, but y'all also have lots of really cool, I was looking at, and I'm just kind of scrolling through some of them now, some of the giveaways that y'all are doing, or silent raffle, and y'all have got some really cool stuff.
Yeah, we do. This year we wanted to just have a lot more chances for people to win. One of the really cool things we get to do since we're partnered with Bocoma on this event is they'll bring in some blackjack tables, and basically you can play for raffle tickets. And so the more you play, the more chances you get to enter into whichever raffle you're interested in. We've got double the amount of bourbon bottles, different brands, some really unique and hard to find picks. We've also got a silent auction for some of our better bottles. And then we'll have some giveaways from Bocoma themselves. They always do a really great grand prize of an overnight stay, round of golf, and dinner for two. that's usually really exciting for whoever wins that. So we're really excited.
Absolutely. So, real quick, I obviously you mentioned that this is all a fundraiser for Leadership Jones County. And Shelly, for people who aren't familiar with what Leadership Jones County is, what is that?
So this is a program that has been operating for over 30 years, and we take people who either live or work in Jones County and put them through this leadership course. So they'll get to meet with all the different local leaders in Jones County, but we also go and meet with our state leaders, and they'll hear about what we have going on, challenges that we face, needs our community has, initiatives that these representatives are working on for us. We also meet with a lot of local organizations. We'll meet with our United Way, some of their agencies they support, other agencies that do community support work. We have a day where we learn all about just the quality of life and the different things to offer that this county has. We have a day where we learn about all of our local industry and people who are new to the area or might have moved here for a job. It's a great way for them to learn about the community, but every single year there's someone who was born and raised here that learns stuff they never knew.
Right.
So it's just a really great way to learn a lot about your county, your community, to network, because it's made up of different people from different industries in Jones County. So you network with people you might not normally cross paths with in your own line of work. And we always do a community service project.
Yeah.
So the class will pick their own projects, and a lot of the things you'll see around town can be attributed to the program. A lot of the murals you'll see, a lot of the parks. There's always somebody doing something in downtown Laurel. We've had some work in downtown Ellisville. We've had a park in Sandersville done. Mason Park usually gets a lot of action from the program. So a lot of the really cool community support projects and programs you've seen around town have come out of this program over the years.
Absolutely, including one that I look at every single morning right across the street from us at the Leontine Price Park. So, they really do some cool stuff. So, Shelly, we've ran out of time, but I know we mentioned off air that there is still time to get tickets for this event.
Yes, tickets are available online at Eventbrite. Just look up Laurel, Jones County Bourbon Tasting. You can call our office, the EDA's office, and we can set you up with some as well, and there'll be a few available at the door.
There you go. Go ahead and buy them now so you don't have to worry about if they run out at the door, because you never know. This is a cool event, so they could sell out today. Well, Shelly, we appreciate you taking time. I know y'all are at an event today, so I'll let you get back at it, but thank you, and I know this is always a cool event that raises money for a great thing that y'all are doing, so thank you for joining us.
All right, thank you, Ben. I enjoyed it.
Absolutely. All right, well, that does it for Good Morning Pine Belt for this week. I know. Hey, go out and look for the monkeys. If I can encourage you to do anything today, go out and look for that five. They say there's one last monkey left, but, hey, there's probably 20, 30 more. All right, that does it. Middays with Gerard is up next. But, hey, it's 10 o'clock, so you know what that means. Go see Rocky over at K-Rocks. Go check them out. Tell them I sent you. Don't forget, tomorrow's the day for the Jones County Game of the Week, not Friday, tomorrow. Check that out on SuperTalk Laurel. Keep your dial on SuperTalk Laurel 99.3. We'll talk to you next week.